All right, so to begin our pop art inspired portrait in Photoshop, we need to open the portrait image that you downloaded from Google Chrome in Photoshop. So to do that, we are going to click the open button on the left side, navigate to where we saved that image. I saved mine on my desktop, and go ahead and click open. So you have your image. Some of you may have chosen a black and white image. Some of you may have chosen a full color image like myself. Next, we are going to create the color halftone. Excuse me. In order to do this, we need to desaturate our image first. So we're going to go ahead and tap the Command, Shift, and U keys all together, and that's going to take all the color out and desaturate it. Make sure that once you do this, we're then going to crop our image. So go ahead and click the crop tool on the left-hand side. We're going to change our crop options drop-down menu from original ratio to a 1:1 square ratio. And then you can go ahead and move your little anchor points in here to crop out any unnecessary parts of the image that you don't want to see. And then go ahead, once you're done kind of framing it in the crop tool, go ahead and click the return key or tap the return key. Next, we're going to change the aspect ratio. We're going to do this in order to make sure the image and the size will be most effective to change it to the side to be most effective for the filters that we're going to use in this project. So the first thing you need to do is click the image drop-down menu way up at the top. Then you're going to click on image size. So you want it to be pixels. So you're going to change inches to pixels. Then you're going to change the width to 500, the height to 500, and then the resolution to 72. So once your window looks like mine, you can then go ahead and click OK. All right. Now, if your image is really small, to fit it back to your screen size, you're going to tap the Command +0 keys, and that's going to snap it back into place. Then let's just select the Move tool so we don't accidentally crop our image. Now we're going to make the darkest areas black and the lightest areas white, and in order to do this, we are going to use Autotone. And to turn on Autotone, we are going to use the key command of Command, Shift, and the letter L. That will brighten up your whites a little bit and blacken up your blacks a little bit more. The next step, we are selecting the area around the figure. In order to do this, we need to separate the subject from the background. So to do this, we're going to use the Object Selection tool, which is in the top left, should be the fourth button down in your toolbar. If you don't see it, click and hold the Quick Selection tool or the Magic Selection tool. It should be stacked right underneath one of those. So we're going to draw a selection around the entire figure. When you let go of the mouse, you are going to see dancing ants. So you're going to click and drag around the figure, let go of your mouse click. The computer program will automatically detect the edges of your figure, and then it will give us this selection here. So these are our dancing ants. Now we're going to select the inverse of what we just created. So we're going to go up to the Select drop-down menu and choose Select Inverse, or you can choose Shift Command I. Next, if your foreground and background colors are not black and white, press the letter D. Okay? This should change them to 100% black and 100% white. Your foreground and background colors are down here at the bottom of your toolbar. You should see black on top and white on bottom. Using the bent arrow or by using the shortcut X, swap your colors so black is the foreground color or on top. So mine are already that way. If yours are not, go ahead and tap the X key to make sure black is on top. Then we're going to create a quick mask and use the quick mask button just below our foreground and background colors. Once you click this button, your figure should turn red. Once you've clicked the quick mask button down at the bottom to turn your quick mask on and your figure is now red, you are going to tap the Q key to turn your quick mask selection into a selection. So go ahead and tap Q. Now that you have a selection, we are going to get rid of the background by tapping Command Delete. So Command Delete. That is actually going to delete our background and fill it with the white background color here. So Command Delete. You should see your background now be fully 100% saturated white. Then we're going to deselect our dancing ants by tapping the Command D button. Next, we're going to create our halftone layer. First, let's make a copy of your background layer. So over in our Layers palette, you should see a thumbnail of your photo, the title background, and a padlock next to it. We're going to take that layer and drag it right down here and duplicate it. You can also do it by tapping the Command J key on your keyboard. That's the shortcut. You should see a new identical layer show up in your Layers palette. We're going to rename that layer Halftone Dots. Halftone Dots. In order to rename a layer, just simply double click on the words, and once you're done naming it, tap the Enter key or the Return key to lock it in. Now we're going to start adding our filters. So go to the Filter drop-down menu at the top, choose Filter Gallery, expand the Sketch folder, and choose Halftone Pattern. Then I want you to make sure that the settings on the right-hand side are set the way that I have them set on the tutorial. So size should be 1, contrast should be 40, and pattern should be dot. Now, you may need to adjust your contrast amount just a little bit, so it may not be 100% 40, it may be less than that. I'm going to give it, I'm actually going to take it down to 30, I think. You should be able to see a good balance of shadow and highlights, just enough midtones and just as many midtones as halftone dots. Once you've done that, go ahead and click OK. The next filter we're going to add is the Smart Sharpen filter. So we're going to click on Filter, hover over Sharpen, and choose Smart Sharpen. In here, these are your settings. We're going to change the amount to 500. We're going to make sure the radius is set to 1. We're going to make sure the noise is reduced to 0, and make sure you remove the Gaussian blur. Okay? Once your settings look like mine, click OK. Now, while on the same layer, change the blend mode to multiply. So in your Layers palette, we're going to click the layer options here where it says normal, and we're going to change that to multiply. Now make a new blank layer below your Halftone Dots layer. Hold the Command key and click the Create New Layer button at the bottom of the Layers palette. This will put a new blank layer between the first one and the bottom one. So holding the Command key, go ahead and click the Create New Layer button, and it will create one just below the layer that you're selected on. We'll fill the empty layer with color for your background. So let's double click the black foreground color to open the color picker and pick the color you'd like to fill your background with. Then click OK. So double click the foreground color, choose a background color, then click OK. Then press Option and Delete to fill that layer with your background color. Option, Delete. It's going to fill it with your background color. Now we will begin to color or shade in the other areas of our figure. Double-click your foreground color again and select a skin tone you would like to use. Then press the letter B on your keyboard to select the brush tool and begin painting in the areas that are skin tone. Now, my brush is really small, and if you want to change the size of your brush, you can tap the bracket key. The right bracket key will make your cursor larger, which is good for, larger areas. Like you can see where I'm painting right now. And then if you use the left bracket, it will be great for smaller areas, like between her glasses. Along the edge of her face right here. And now you notice I also zoomed in. So to zoom in, it's Command plus. To zoom out is Command minus. And you're just going to paint. You can paint right over all the black because that is on a different layer. Okay, so now we have her flesh tone painted in there. And then you're just going to repeat that process for all of your other colors. So next I'll do her glasses. So I'm going to make her glasses red. So I'm going to double click my foreground color, use the color picker. Actually, maybe I'll make them like this fuchsia magenta color. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's make it this color. You're going to choose your paint color, click OK, zoom in on your figure, and using the brush key, so tapping B to get your brush tool, and then you can use the left bracket to make your brush smaller. You're just going to paint in the color for that area. Now, if your brush looks blurry or fuzzy, we want to change the brush from what is called a feathered brush to a hard edged brush. So to do that, you would just click over here on this little folder over here, and you can choose a hard brush here. So if you look, the hard brushes have a very hard, right, or defined edge, whereas a feathered brush, a feathered brush has a blurry or softer edge. So you just select a harder brush, and that will give you some nice clean edges. And also the trick of always zooming in and working close to your figure always helps. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to make her lip color. So again, we're going to double click over here to your color picker, pick your lip color. Let's give her some pink lips. Click OK, paint it in. Oh, you know what? She needs that stripe in her shirt. So I think I'm just going to make that stripe white. Once you have painted everything in and your portrait is complete, you're going to save your file and make sure you save it with your last name. So File, Save As. You're going to save it on your computer. You're going to change it to your last name _ pop art portrait. Save it to your desktop. Make sure the format is a Photoshop format, and then click Save.